Hello, everyone. It's Lori here with another weekly or semi-weekly garden tour. Here's the front bed with the last of the tulips and lots of bee balm coming up here in the back. I need to thin that out just a little bit. Gets a little grows a little quickly here. And my alliums are starting to come out here. I have a few tucked in the irises. Here's one just about ready to open. I love the little purple palms on these. And I've got some clematis that's coming up and is going to be blooming soon. Lots and lots of irises. They're starting to show their buds now. I have a lot of different colors in there, mostly bearded irises and a couple of others that I just picked up and I don't even know what they are, but they're smaller ones. And the tulips are getting pretty faded here. This garden bed is really greening up nicely. I've got rose and coneflower and a few more irises, and it's really too full. I need to thin it out, but I really have a hard time. I have a hard time thinning it out. And there's the rhododendron. That was here when we moved in, although it was about 10 times the size. Another iris blooming. About reaching the sun limit for the irises over here. The ones you see in this bed probably won't bloom, and I'll need to remove those. But look at that silene, that pink silene. It's so beautiful. It's a native plant, and I had picked these up on clearance. And I just want to get a closer look because they're so pretty. Such a pretty pink color. And again, this I put in the fall, and these three plants are quite large. And I should be able to divide them. And my neighbors were talking to me about them, and I might have to give them some because they were really loving the color of these. They just pop from the sidewalk when you walk by. Lily of the Valley. This was here when we moved in, and I have to try to control it because it just pulls forward into the garden beds, and I'm constantly pulling it out. But I have not done anything with this mat of these flowers back here. I love the fragrance, but they are quite aggressive. In the back large shade bed, again, that darker area is where the spice bush is going to go, but my lady's mantle is coming up. And this hosta right here is one of the only plants left that we left when we moved in here. Almost everything else came out. It's huge too. I have to remember not to plant anything around it because it gets so big that it covers everything up. So it looks like there's a lot of space around it, but it really is quite large. And I've got my Hookera in there. And I've got some spring bulbs that'll be coming up hopefully soon. Fingers crossed. And the large patch of Solomon seal. These are a nice addition to the shade bed. They stay green. And the violets I let the violets show up wherever. This is the shade bed from the other side. You can see more of the Hookera, some hostas. Those hostas at the very top there, those are actually, that's my neighbor's house. But it's funny, we seem to have the same hosta even though we got them from different places. I love this Hookera. It's a caramel something. I'll have to look it up and see what it is. But don't you just love the color of these leaves? It's so unusual. I do have a problem with slugs eating my hookeras, but I love them anyway. The hookera, not the snails. The bleeding heart. It's all bloomed out now. So pretty. This is the cherry tree. It's fading right now. It's very pretty for such a short time in the spring, and then the petals start falling, and it's like pink snow, and it's all over the garden beds. It's just, it's so pretty. I mean, it's messy, but gosh, it's pretty. So all over the shade bed, little pink petals. It's like pink mulch. Here's another close-up of the bleeding heart. And my cohosh. I just got blue cohosh in. This is the black. The blue is planted in there as bare roots. Here's the back sunniest corner in the back with some roses and some centaurea, irises, and my peonies. I have moved them all back here to give them as much sun as possible to keep them from getting the powdery mildew, which they've gotten in other spots. And I've got gladiolus in here and my flowering almond, which I thought was dead because the big large branch had died, but then it shot up some new growth. So I guess I still have a flowering almond. This is kind of the Monarch Corner over here. There's a rose bush here, which I thought it was dead, and it's got growth at the bottom. So it's a David Austin Othello rose, and this is the thorniest rose you will ever see. Look at those thorns. It's very hard to work with, but I can't. I don't want to just kill it. Although I did move it, and I thought maybe it had died. But along here, there's milkweed and phlox and Stokes aster. And I believe I also have a red hot poker in there. Uh, there's a Joe Pye weed, lots of globe thistles, some irises, and a sentimental rose bush. I do like my roses even though they're not native, but I only like the floribundas, and tea roses are too much of a pain for me. Tulips are still blooming. This back corner here has the Joe Pye weed and some daylilies and Leatris, lots of black-eyed Susans, which I've been thinning out. So I'm still working on this area. I don't know what that bush is. That was here when we moved in. I just keep it trimmed back, but I don't really want to remove it. But in here, there's more Joe Pye weed and bee balm. You can see the globe thistles in there and the blue forget-me-nots, which really I thinned this out already. You can see where I've been working in here. So the path's not very clean, but I pulled up a bunch for my neighbors because they've been admiring it. We share a lot of plants. But interestingly enough, look at this pink forget-me-not. I don't know, it just appeared. I don't know if they do that on their own from cross-pollination or what. It's amongst a lot of the globe thistles in here. Some Cheyenne Spirit coneflowers and violets and garlic mustard. Ugh, I can't get rid of that. I've been pulling it up for days. And this shrub here is my Rose of Sharon, which always comes up very late. It's a very late bloomer or late wakener. And just another shot of the front of that bed with the tulips. These are lily flowering tulips. I think I picked them up at a garden center. Usually I order bulbs online, but those I just happen to pick up. We'll be saying farewell to all of the tulips. They're all about done now. This small bed is the bird feeder bed, as I call it. There's two bird feeder poles in here. And I'll tell you, they make a mess of this garden bed. And you can see here I also have another inhabitant, a mole or vole or something in there that keeps making holes. Keep filling them in, but they keep coming back. But the squirrels and birds trample a lot of stuff in this bed. So I've been trying lots of different things. I put Hosta in because that's pretty indestructible. They've been pulling the irises up, and I'm going to put a lot of annuals in here and cross my fingers and see what happens. But this is the newest garden bed's coming along. It's ready for planting now. It's about 19 feet by 9. It's quite large, but I'm going to be doing, this is the pollinator garden with all of the good stuff in it. I have pussy willows and mountain mint. There'll be some New Jersey tea coming in here too for some more shrubbery, and lots of annuals while I decide what else to be putting in here. There'll be bone set, cardinal flower. These two sticks right here I have marked out where I have the gladiolus planted. I tend to plant and forget, and then I will step on them or plant something close by. But this is quite a large bed. I'm really excited to get things in here. So I hope you decide to subscribe and come along for the ride while this grows. Have a great day.